Hi YouTubers, what is happening? We are back. It's been a few days since I put a video up. I've been out of town for business, and I gotta plug my camera in so it doesn't die. There we go. And back today with another video, and we got another Wee knife here in front of us, as you can see by the pouch. Sorry, this gets a little. There we go. Got another Wee knife, and this is another one part of the pass around, and this one I was pretty excited about. This one is actually designed by one of our pass around members, and that is Zelcrick82, I believe is what his YouTube channel is. And him and his brother run a company called Todd Knife and Tool, and they've got a few designs. I think this was one of their first. I could be wrong on that, but really cool to see their design come to fruition and be produced by Wee Knives, which is known for producing very quality knives for a lot of different makers and a lot of different designers. So let's look at the Roxie. So this comes in 3 different variations. You get your typical Wee packaging, which is really nice for the money. So you got the Roxie right here. Let's zoom her in. It's kind of a small knife, so let's get her in there. So it is a flipper, titanium frame lock. Let's do some basic specs. Your overall length is 6.3. Blade is 2.6. The blade width is 1.25. That's how it is in the pocket. The blade thickness is 0.16 on the stock. It is M390 blade steel. Wharncliffe blade with a flat grind. Stonewash finish on this one. And the handle length is 3.7 inches, and the width, the thickness is 0.5. Weighs 3.8 ounces. 3.8 ounces. So, little beefy knife is what it is. It's pretty small. Price on this one is $242. Now it does, like I said, it comes in a few different variations. You have this variation. You have a flame titanium with like a black wash style blade, and then you have a black DLC titanium with DLC blade, I believe. So a few different variations. So if you don't like just the plain titanium, it's got bronze hardware, which is nice. You can get one of those other ones. I really like the flamed one personally. I think it's pretty cool. It's something like what Strider used to, or Strider still does, but they don't make a lot of knives anymore, it seems like. On their SNG and SMF, they always had that flame titanium lock side. So let's talk about the Roxie. It is designed as a small utility knife with that blade shape, definitely utility with the Wharncliffe. The nice thing is it's a small knife, and I'm going to do a size comparison real quick to some of my other favorite beefy small knives, because that's exactly what this knife is. There's the Zero Tolerance 0900 Les George design, and the Hinderer Half Track Gen 2 Tri-Way. Both of these are 2 of my favorite small beefy knives, and they are very, very similar in size to the Roxie. I would say the 0900 is a little larger than the handle and the blade. The blade's about, it's about the same. And that's one. This has been, just a beater knife for me. It's just been sharpened a lot. It's been used. It's got scratches all over it, but it's been just such a solid little frame lock. So let's compare it closer to the Half Track, which is a more recent knife. The 0900 has been discontinued, and they're about the same size. Okay, so the Roxie is a pretty slick little design. I've always been attracted to the small beefy knives. You do have a nice flush backspacer titanium, which is really nice detail here. That's one thing that I really appreciate about this knife is the details. There's a lot of really good details that were included in the design. That being one of them. The flush backspacer that has like a nice stonewash on the bronze. The pocket clip also has a nice stonewashing on the bronze. It's just a really cool look. It kind of offsets just the plain gray titanium. You do have a nice finger choil here. That is like almost necessary, because in this, if you don't use the choil, you can get 3 fingers on the knife, about 3.5. But one thing they did really well in the design is they have, and I've seen this on a few different models. In fact, I think the Half Track has this similar kind of hump in the back. Well, it does, but it goes a different direction. This is more pronounced. This is kind of more subtle. But what it does is it locks that pinky on the end of the knife. And they did the exact same thing with the Roxie. It definitely does. And it's a little less than the half track. I think the half track is slightly bigger, but you do get a full 4-finger grip. It's just this one's kind of hanging back off this back edge. If you want to use the choil, it works really well. And another thing they did really well, so many knives get it wrong, is the jimping. Now it's a little, I will say it's a little aggressive. One of the best jimpings on a knife ever is this 0900. It works, but it's not too aggressive, right? The jimping on the, let's see, does the half track? Yeah, the half track again works, but not over aggressive. I think they went a little over aggressive on this, but one thing they did well is they made it work in both grips. That is huge, because a lot of times when you, the jimping's too far back typically, and so you have to use this grip. If when you use the choil, the jimping would typically, your thumb would land up here and it wouldn't work. But for some reason with the choil, where it's designed in this jimping, when you use that choil and you stick your finger right there on the jimping, it works perfect. So it works perfect in both grips, and that is awesome, because you do not see that very much. So that is one thing they did really well. I think the jimping, it's not too aggressive. It's a little, I would like to say just to tone down the titch, but it's not too bad. You do have some jimping on the backspacer as well that works, and you have a lanyard attachment here that is really well designed. Actually, it doesn't take away from the knife, doesn't make it awkward. The pocket clip is, I like the flow of the design of the pocket clip. It's a little stiff though, I will tell you. I'll show you actually. I found it a little difficult to get in and out of the pocket. This will bug some people, and a lot of people will not even bug at all. But see how that was kind of like difficult to get on? I'll tell you what, it's not coming off anytime soon, but it's a little difficult to slide into your pocket. So the pocket clip's a little stiff. Maybe if they just increase that gap slightly, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it looks like from the picture here, or from the video, the gap looks fine, but it's just, maybe it needs a little more spring with the titanium. That might accomplish that. But very well done on as far as making a small knife usable for larger hands. Now, I don't have larger hands. I have medium. I wear a medium glove, and it works great for me. If you had big hands, you're definitely only 3-finger in this knife in this grip. But in this grip, I still think you can get 4 fingers, because I've got, you know, a little bit left, and you'd probably be hitting that hump right there with your 4th finger. But that's okay, because it's designed to work as a small utility knife that, you know, you would choke up on. And it just keeps the overall package really small. Pretty lightweight. 3.8 ounces isn't anything to write home about in this size, but it's a beefy overbuilt frame lock, very similar to the half track, which is a very similar weight, and again the 0900. So it's not designed to be ultra lightweight either. It's designed to be a pretty hard use small knife, is what I would say. M390 blade still, you can't go wrong there. Some of the best out there. The sharpening, there is literally like no sharpening choil or Picasso at all. I would kind of like to see that a little bit. Kind of just, the grind just kind of drops off right here. That's not, you know, that's nitpicky. That's not really necessarily even a design aspect either. That could just be something that happened in the factory. I do like the fuller here, or blood groove, or however you want to call it. You can actually use that as a deployment method, which I think is genius. So you have the flipper. The flipping action is fantastic, as you'd expect from Lee on ceramic bearings. But you can also middle finger flick the knife with that fuller. And if you want to slow roll it, you got a slow roll option. So you have 3 different deployment methods, which is something I tend to like really look for in knives these days. Did I have to use the flipper, or can I, you know, is there multiple ways to open the knife? And I really like that, especially the slow roll, because you're not always wanting to flick your knife out, you know, get it out and use it in front of certain, you know, people. You may want to just slow it and use it, you know. It's some people don't care, it's not a big deal, but you know, there's definitely others out there that are going to be like, ooh, you know, he's flipping that knife out, it's like an automatic or something, you know, which obviously it's not. But the one thing is, with the Wharncliffe blade shape, it is kind of wide. It's a wide carry in the pocket compared to like the half track. I mean, it's because of the blade shape, but the half track's quite a bit slimmer. And comparing them like this, so you see, like, imagine in your pocket where you'd see the knife, and that is going to be that much wider as a piece. But it's so short overall that it shouldn't be too big of a deal. And let's look at the 0900 too, which has got a gigantic flipper tab. That is the one thing I don't like about this knife, is the flipper tab is huge, but the action is fantastic, so it works. But one thing I will say about the Hinderer is it also has a big flipper tab. So one thing they did really well on this knife, they did put jimping on the flipper tab, which is nice. And it's small and discreet and doesn't stick out very much. So they did a really good job on that. I also love how the Wii logo is very small. It's not gigantic and huge. The pivot's not very big. It doesn't need to be. And I like how that logo is kind of small. Other than that, you don't see a ton of branding. I mean, you have the Todd Knife and Tool logo here. And then you have the Wii, and that's it. And then there's really nothing on the blade. Wii's been hiding the blade steel lately. It's so hard to find. I know it's M390, but typically there's a little marker or something on the blade somewhere, and I don't see it on this knife. It's probably there somewhere. It's just hiding. It was the same with the latest Civivi knife I just got in, the Shard. Oh, there it is, right there. I just noticed the D2. That's the first time I've been able to find it. So maybe it's the same way. Yep, right there. They hit it right here on the blade, M390. So they hit the blade. So I like how they do kind of more of sterile blades almost, so how they have like less branding than some other companies. Like you get a ZT and it typically has like freaking just a ton of writing on it. I mean, look at that side. That's got the serial number. It's got the blade steel, the designer, the model. I mean, all kind of in one place. I don't really love that. So overall, I like the Roxie. It's a cool little knife. If you like beefy, small knives, this is definitely one to get. I can't think of too many that are in a Wharncliffe blade shape. The Techno kind of has that. The Techno 2 has that new kind of sheep's foot, and then the half tracks. You know, they have the span toe and then the typical drop point half track. I can't think of too many that are in a Wharncliffe like this, so I definitely dig it for that. Price point $242 is pretty standard for what you're getting out of this knife. Titanium, ceramic bearings, titanium hardware, M390. You know, it's still a good deal. It's definitely not like, you know, whoa, that's the craziest best value ever, but it's definitely priced where it needs to be. So, but it's very cool to see Zell's design come to life and be produced by Wii Knives. And I believe he works for Wii Knives. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Zell, but that's a pretty cool company to work for. You know what I mean? And have the opportunity to work with them on your own design is pretty amazing. So that's definitely something that'd be really cool. That's going to wrap up the video, guys, on the Wii Knives for Roxie. Any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and we'll see you next time.